Well, folks, I hope you've all had a very nice lunch break indeed, because we're about to start the second session of racing here at World Rowing Cup 2 Lucerne. Short but sweet is the name of the game this afternoon. We're kicking off with the women's single C final in just 10 minutes time, and then we run through the men's single C final, the lightweight men's double C final, and we'll round off day 2 of racing with the D final in the men's single sculls.
Noch 10 Minuten bis zum Start der Finalsession von heute Nachmittag. Wir hoffen, dass ihr alle gut gegessen habt und euch erholen konntet von dem Mittagessen. Wir werden starten mit dem C-Finale des Fraueneiners, danach gefolgt vom Männereiner, Final C, und dem C-Finale vom Leichtgewichtsdoppelzweier. Und zum Abschluss haben wir das D-Finale des Männereiner.
So we are just under 5 minutes away from the start of the C final of the women's single sculls. And I'm delighted to be joined by a new face up here in the tower, Marius Merkt. We spent a little bit of time last weekend at the final Olympic and Paralympic qualification regatta, commentating out at the 1,000. Much drier and much nicer up here in the tower, although a beautiful day out there on the Rotsee.
Yes, indeed, a beautiful day we have here. The sun is shining, not too much wind, and we are all ready for the last races of the day. Wie sehr schönes Wetter und wunderbare Bedingungen wieder einmal auf dem Rotsee. Wir freuen uns riesig auf die C- und D-Finals des heutigen Nachmittags und wir sind alle bereit.
So we've got just 4 races, short but sweet, like we said, and up there at the 1,000-metre marker, looking to bring you all the action from the halfway point. We've got Brian Richie Richardson, Stuart John and Thomas Scherter. And Richie, coming to you first, any sort of thoughts from this morning's contingent of A finals?
I'm going to be quite selfish and, of course, go to the Irish medalists. So great to see Siobhan McCone, the current world champion in the lightweight single, retain another medal here coming across the line. And then Tiernan as well in the scull. He's first time racing internationally and comes away with a silver medal. So really happy to see how the Irish are performing here. And, of course, a couple more races to come tomorrow as well. And a couple more medal prospects.
Yeah, indeed. Much more to come from Ireland, I'm sure, but a great start. And Stuart, speaking of kind of home, well, I say sort of home preference, the Australians also had a great morning in the semi-finals.
Yeah, look, it's particularly in the women's double. That crew absolutely went through. Very strong win there in the heat. And as I said during the commentary, it's one of those events where I think they're flying under the radar a little bit. They only qualified through the B final at the World Championships last year. And now this year, I think they're a chance of definitely making the A final, as we saw based on that performance today, and then hopefully being able to go through and take a medal. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how they go in the final tomorrow in the women's double. And then, of course, the battle in the women's pair between the Australian and the Dutch crews, very close the entire way down. And both of those crews will take something from it. And I'm really looking forward to that race tomorrow as well. The women's pairs and the women's doubles.
Yeah, indeed. Much more. Again, I think I'm going to say this a lot. Lots more to come tomorrow. We've got an action-packed day full of more medal finals. But Marius, I guess it's time to hear from Tom up at the 1,000.
Ja, Tom, ganz spannende Rennen, die wir heute gesehen haben. Was sind deine Gedanken und Gefühle jetzt, nachdem die Halbfinals und Finals vorbei sind?
Ja, da spreche ich natürlich auch aus Schweizer Sicht, wie meine Kollegen aus australischer und irischer Sicht gesprochen haben. Also das beste Rennen für mich war natürlich der Leichtgewichtsdoppelzweier der Männer, die unsere Jan Schäuble und Rafi Ahumada haben die Weltmeister und Olympiasieger geschlagen in diesem Halbfinale und das war für mich sehr beeindruckend. Und wenn Sie das morgen wiederholen können, umso besser. Dann haben auch wir Medaillenboote und es ist ja nicht nur der leichte Doppelzweier, der in den Finals steht, sondern auch der Zweier ohne mit großen Medaillenchancen. Und dann haben wir noch den Frauen-Doppelvierer, der beim Bahnverteilungsrennen Vierte wurde. Aber auch hier sehe ich eine Möglichkeit, direkt aufs Podest zu fahren. Und ganz sicher auch mitreden werden die Männer im Doppelvierer. Sie sind gestern etwas verhalten gefahren, aber ich glaube, da liegt noch mehr drin. Und es liegt sicher mehr drin als der 5. Platz von gestern.
Vielen Dank für deine Einsicht und das erste Rennen ist bereits gestartet und das wäre der C-Final für den Frauen-Einer und es sind 6 Boote am Start auf der Bahn 1, Kuba auf der Bahn 2, Brasilien auf der Bahn 3, Großbritannien auf der Bahn 4, die USA auf der Bahn 5, Hongkong und auf der Bahn 6, Togo.
So as you just heard from Marius there, the first of our C finals underway here now in Lucerne, and it's a packed field, 6 scullers taking on the C final to try and gain a ranking between 13th and 18th here at the second World Cup of the series. In lane 1, we've got Jarlvis Cobas Garcia of Cuba. In lane 2, Beatriz Cunha Tavares Cardoso of Brazil. In lane 3, Lucy Glover of Great Britain. In lane 4, Alina Hagstrom of the USA. In lane 5, Hong Kong China's Hung Winyan Win. And in lane 6, Akoko Komlanvi of Togo. So they're just coming through 500 metres gone, and through that point it was the British sculler Lucy Glover who had taken a lead by just over or just under 2 seconds actually. Hun Wingyang Win was second through for Hong Kong China. They had a sensational morning this morning, making history with the first ever international medal being secured for the country, and not only that, the first gold medal ever on the international circuit. So amazing stuff from Hong Kong China. I'm sure Hung Winyan Win feeling that inspiration here as she enters into this women's single scull C final and riding right up there with the top 3. It's then the USA's Alina Hagstrom that completes that top 3, but very close indeed with Cunha Tavares Cardoso of Brazil. But as they close in on 800 metres gone to bring us all the action from right out there alongside the course, Richie, Tom and Stuart, take it away.
Thanks, Camilla. They're just coming into view here now in the final C of the women's singles sculls. Off of the start, as you said, it was Lucy Glover getting off to the best start, along with the Hong Kong China sculler in second place. Hagstrom, on paper, is the fastest out of the crews here by some margin, coming through the repechages in the racing that we had yesterday afternoon. Over 14 seconds ahead of Lucy Glover's time in the repechages that came through. All these scullers in the C final, placing 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th in the repechages that we had yesterday in those difficult and challenging conditions. I'm sure they're enjoying the blue skies that we have here as they come down with just over halfway to go. Still leading it out, a nice steady rate for most of the rowers here at the mid-30 level strokes per minute. It's Lucy Glover just opening up now a little bit of clear water, so this is exactly what you want to do in a sculling race. Come up to halfway, make sure there's no overlaps, get out to a lead, hold on to it then, but she's coming under pressure now from Aliana Hagstrom. Has now moved into second place, coming through the 500 metre mark was in 4th, now moving up into 2nd, so really solid second 500 from Hagstrom of USA to move into 2nd place. Hung from Hong Kong China now pushed back into 3rd, Brazil in 4th, and Cuba 5th, and Togo back in 6th place, and they're on their way down now, still leading it out. Lucy Glover doing what needs to be done here, Clearwater lead ahead of Hagstrom. Let's see what the second half will bring.
Ja, und wir sind bereits bei 1200 Metern und es führt Lucy Glover aus Großbritannien, und zwar mit einer offenen Länge Vorsprung auf Alina Hagström. Alina Hagström hat die schnellste Zeit gerudert in den Vorrennen, also wird sich zeigen, ob sie auf den zweiten 1000 Metern noch zu Lucy Glover aufschließen kann. Dann haben wir an dritter Stelle Winyan Win Hung aus Hongkong. Und sie liegt etwa schon mit 2,5 Längen zurück, aber gleich auf mit der Brasilianerin Beatriz Cunha Tavares. Dann am Schluss des Feldes haben wir Kuba und Togo. Aber an der Spitze ist noch gar nichts entschieden. Also ich denke, die Amerikanerin, die Engländerin, die Hongkong-Chinesin und die Brasilianerin werden die 3 Plätze untereinander ausmachen.
Approaching the 1500 metre timing point, and Alina Hagström from the USA has made a push. The third 500 metres, she is closing in fast on Lucy Glover of Great Britain. So they're 2 in the middle. Both of these women having won medals at World Championships before. Lucy Glover, part of the bronze medal winning World Championship quad back in 2022, and Alina Hagström winning a silver medal in the women's 8s at last year's World Championship. So both with the pedigree, they're both out in the single scull at the moment, and that margin has gone from 3 seconds at the 1,000 metres. It's now under a second, and Alina Hagström is moving the boat faster than Lucy Glover. So Lucy Glover will have a heck of a job to be able to try and hold on for this win in the women's C single sculls. Beatriz Cunha Tavares Cardoso is sitting in 3rd place ahead of Winyan Win Hung of Hong Kong. Yarivulus Cobas Garcia is sitting in 5th place, and then Akoko Komlanvi from Togo in 6th place. And they're coming up now towards the last 250 metres. And it is, in fact, Alina Hagström who has now taken the lead. She's moved past Lucy Glover. The boat speed, they're both rating about 34, 35, but the boat speed coming from Hagström a lot quicker than what it is coming from Lucy Glover. So Alina Hagström into the red buoys now at the final stages, Camilla, and she's looking good to go through and take the win.
Yeah, and she's timed this to perfection, Alina Hagström. The only place that it matters that you're leading this race is at the finish line. And the US sculler has really executed a perfect race plan to shift into the lead just when it matters most in front of the grandstands here. Lucy Glover unable to keep pace here. Her speed not quite matching despite that same rating that you were talking about. But she's very comfortably still in second. A buffer back to the third place fight, which is currently being won out by the Brazilian Cunha Tavares Cardoso.
Die Amerikanerin hat in den vierten 500 Meter einen großen Zwischenspurt eingelegt und hat ihren Bugball nach vorne geschoben. Sie führt dieses Rennen mit einer offenen Länge. Jetzt fahren sie ins Ziel und es wird dieses Finale geht an die USA, an Alina Hagström vor Lucy Glover dahinter. Die Brasilianerin Beatriz Cunha Tavares Cardoso und auf dem vierten Rang haben wir die Ruderin von Hongkong, China, Hung Wing-Yan Winnie und dahinter ein bisschen abgeschlagen vom Feld. Noch einmal großen Applaus für die togolesische Ruderin Akoko Komalivi, wie sie hier noch über die letzten 250 Meter sich durchkämpft. Sie versucht noch einmal dieses Rennen sauber fertig zu fahren.
So across the line there, it was indeed Alina Hagström of the USA beating out Lucy Glover by one length of Great Britain. It was then Beatriz Cunha Tavares Cardoso of Brazil that came third. Hung Win-Yan Win continuing the great work that was done this morning by their lightweight men's single sculler here in the C final, rounding off in fourth. Cuba's Cobas Garcia through the line in fifth, and then sixth, Akoko Komlanvi, the final sculler with about 10 or so strokes to go here in front of the finishing tower, will conclude this C final with an 18th place finish overall. Jumping quickly now onto the next race, which is almost at 1,200 metres. We're missing Lithuania 2, Dovydas Nemerovicius in lane number 1. But in lane 2, Lucas Vertain Ferreira of Brazil. In lane 3, Nils Torre of Italy. In 4, Michael Nippen of the USA. Cuba's Ridi Cardona Blanco in 5. And Tunisia's Mohamed Tayeb in lane number 6. And we're going to jump straight up to that 1,200 metre marker. Richie, what's the story of this race?
They're well on the way down to you there now, and the lead has changed a number of times. Niels Torre now moving in to take the lead, coming through 1,000 metres. It's the Brazilian sculler in second, and Atib, the Tunisian sculler, in third. Cardona Blanco from Cuba, the early leader through 500, now back in fourth place with Michael Knippen of USA in fifth place. They just have over 3 seconds between first and fifth, so there's overlap right the way through there, and anything can happen in the smaller boats when they come down into the run-in towards the finish. So just barely leading it out at the moment, it's Niels Torre, but all to play for.
Ja, es sind zwei Ruderer, die hier an der Spitze sind, nämlich der Leichtgewichtsruder aus Italien, Nils Torre, und Lucas Vertain Ferreira, der ebenfalls für die Olympischen Spiele qualifiziert ist. Sie führen mit einer Dreiviertellänge Vorsprung auf den Tunesier Mohamed Tayeb. Aber das Rennen ist sicher noch nicht entschieden. Unter diesen drei Ruderern, wer den besten Endspurt hat, wird das Rennen gewinnen.
Into the final stages now, and it is Lucas Vertain Ferreira from Brazil who has the lead. He's a quarter of a second ahead of Nils Torre from Italy, and then Mohamed Tayeb only a second behind in third place. So our 1-2, we've got our 1-2-3, but in what order, we'll wait and see. Michael Knippen from the USA sitting in fourth place, and then Ridi Cardona Blanco just dropping off the pace a little bit through that third 500 metres, and he is currently sitting in fifth. So the battle is at the front at the moment. It's Vertain Ferreira leading Torre and Tayeb from Italy and Tunisia respectively. Nils Torre, the lightweight single scull winner at the European Championships at Szeged, and he'll need a pretty big sprint finish though, Camilla, to be able to get past Lucas Vertain Ferreira.
Yeah, Lucas Vertime Ferreira, the qualifier from the Latin America's Olympic qualification regatta in the men's single scull. He's up at 40 strokes a minute. So not only would he need a pretty fearsome sprint, Mohamed Taya, but it would need to outsprint that of the Brazilian, who's already well up there, 41 strokes a minute now. But sandwiched in between them, Niels Torre of Italy. He's up at 44 in the single. That must be painful, but it's paying dividends as he moves into second place.
Ein sehr, sehr starker Endspurt von allen Booten hier auf dem Wasser und es ist immer noch der Brasilianer Lucas Ferreira, der hier die Spitze anhält. Es sind nur noch wenige Meter zu rudern. Er wird stark unter Druck gesetzt vom Leichtgewichtsruderer Niels Torre, der den zweiten Platz einnimmt. Und auf dem dritten Rang haben wir auf der Bahn 6 Mohamed Taib aus Tunesien. Auf dem vierten Platz in der Bahn 4 der US-Amerikaner Michael Knippen und zuletzt rundet dieses Feld ab der kubanische Ruderer Raida Cardona Blanco.
So that is the last of the scullers over the line there. Cuba's Cardano Blanco is the fifth place sculler with the absence of Nemirovicius of Lithuania, as we mentioned. And then going up the rankings, Nippen fourth, Tayeb third, Torre second, and Vertime Ferreira winning it out for Brazil. So we're already halfway through this afternoon's set of racing, just 2 races to go here on the programme. And next up, the lightweight men's double sculls C final. 2 crews contending in this, Hong Kong China's Head Yadin Lee and Chen Pak Hong, and Mexico in lane number 2, Velasquez Galde and Maya Gutierrez. A head-to-head battle for these two boats.
Nur 2 Boote in diesem C-Finale des Leichtgewichtsdoppelzweier der Männer und es ist Hongkong versus Mexiko. Im Hongkong-Boot haben wir Head und Chen und im mexikanischen Boot haben wir Velasquez Uldage und Meaje Gutierrez. Diese 2 Boote haben ein Kopf-an-Kopf-Rennen, obwohl es sich jetzt schon ein entscheidender Push gemacht wurde vom mexikanischen Boot. Die haben bereits fast 9 Sekunden Vorsprung bei der 1000-Meter-Marke. Und Tom, wie hältst du das aus bei den 1000 Meter? Können die Hongkonger noch einmal aufholen oder werden die Mexikaner ein bisschen zu schnell sein?
Ja, ich glaube, das ist der Fall. Erfahrung siegt hier über Jugend, denn die beiden Mexikaner sind doch schon um die 30 Jahre herum und die Hongkong-Chinesen haben ein Alter von 18 und 19 Jahren, also sehr junge Ruderer. Und dass sie es hier an den Rotsee geschafft haben, ist schon etwas wert. Aber in diesem Rennen nun hat die Erfahrung wird obsiegen. Und zwar sind es die Mexikaner, die mit einem Vorsprung von gut 5 bis 6 Längen das Rennen bei 1400 Metern anführen.
So this race just coming up to the 1500 meter mark, and these 2 crews raced in the repechage already yesterday evening, where they placed 4th and 5th, and it's going with form again here with the Mexican crew leading it out. They won that repechage, they won the battle against the Hong Kong China repechage by over 10 seconds, and coming up through 1,000 meters, they were already up at the 9-second mark, and they're powering on here, not holding off at all. 36 strokes per minute, and they're really powering their way down now to the 1500 meter mark, looking to take the positions here in Final C. Mexico in full control against Hong Kong China.
Yeah, the Mexican crew there of Marco Antonio Velasquez Ulgalde and then Rafael Alejandro Mejia Gutierrez looking very comfortable. They are a little bit more experienced. Velasquez Ulgalde is 31, Mejia Gutierrez is 28, whereas the Hong Kong crew are 19 for Jaden Lee Head and then Pak Hong Chen 18. So about a 10-year age gap between the 2 crews, and it's showing as they went past us at the 1,000 metres and certainly coming up towards the 250 to go, that Mexican crew just looking like they're getting that little bit of extra power through the stroke. Very clean blade work as they're coming down the course as well. And Camilla, as they're coming down into that last 250 metres, Mexico certainly looking very, very strong indeed.
Yeah, what a great feeling it must be to be out here on the Lake of the Gods with this much margin in this C final of the lightweight men's double sculls. They're winning it out in style at this point in time. It would take something pretty catastrophic for the Mexicans to fall back into second place at this point in time. So it looks like they're going to achieve the highest ranking they possibly can here in this C final of 13th place overall.
Weiterhin führt Mexiko klar und sie gleiten förmlich über diesen See, über den Göttersee und sie haben mehrere Längen offenes Wasservorsprung vor dem Boot aus Hongkong, China. Aber die kämpfen weiterhin und haben die Schlagzahl erhöht. Sie wollen so wenig zwischen sich und den Mexikanern haben im Ziel und das sieht auch sehr, sehr gut aus. Während die Mexikaner beide jetzt gerade ins Ziel gefahren sind, kämpft sich noch Hongkong über die Linie.
So that is both Mexico and Hong Kong, China now over the line in that lightweight men's double sculls event to conclude race 3 of 4 in the programme this afternoon. And with that, we will move swiftly on to the D final of the men's singles. In lane 1, we were due to have the Olympic champion Stefanos Douskos from Greece, but unfortunately he's had to withdraw for medical reasons. Dara Alizada of Bermuda in lane number 2, Andrew Peebles of Zimbabwe in 3, Marabek Mamatkulov of Uzbekistan in 4 and Gaston Mercier of Belgium in lane number 5.
5 Boote am Start in diesem D-Finale des Männer-Einers und leider haben wir ein abgemeldetes Boot und das ist Griechenland. Der Olympiasieger musste krankheitshalber dieses Rennen forfeitieren, aber da haben wir auf der Bahn 2 Bermuda mit Dara Alizade, auf der Bahn 3 Zimbabwe mit Andrew Peebles, auf der Bahn 4 Usbekistan mit Mekroyeb Mamatkulov und auf der Bahn 5 der Belgier Gaston Mercier.
So we're now approaching the halfway point of this race and it looks like Belgium had a pretty good start here, Richie.
Yeah, Gaston Mercier had done all the running in the first 500 metres, opening up a lead, but barely just from the Uzbeki sculler in second place, coming through 500 with barely a second, so not even a length between them as they went through 500. Then it's Bermuda back in third place, just ahead of Zimbabwe, and as they come through 1,000 metres, there's just one boat length separating first to fourth. So all to play for here as they come down to the second half of the race. Leading it out still, it is Gaston Mercier of Belgium, ahead now of Uzbekistan in second. Bermuda still holding on to third and Zimbabwe in fourth. Nothing has changed coming through 500 and through the 1,000 metre mark. It's Gaston Mercier doing all the running here.
Ja, die 1000 Meter Marke ist durchquert und es führt Gaston Mercier, aber ganz knapp vor den anderen Booten. Also alle Boote sind noch in einer Länge verteilt. Dann haben wir an zweiter Stelle Mamatkulov aus Usbekistan, dritter Andrew Peebles aus Zimbabwe und am Schluss des Feldes Dara Alizade aus Bermuda. Im Moment führt Gaston Mercier nur mit einer Luftkastenlänge Vorsprung auf den zweitplatzierten Usbeken Mamatkulov.
And coming now through 1,250 metres, it's still a very even race, and it's fascinating to keep an eye out on the technique as they all came through, and all the rates and that kind of thing. So the speeds, the rates, the distances, all very, very similar. So all the crews rating in the low 30s. Dara Alizade from Bermuda rating a little bit higher, still getting a bit of speed through there. And there's less than 10 metres between first and fourth. So they're all staying nice and close together. They're all going at about 4.5 metres per second, all rating in those low 30s, as I say, except for Dara Alizade, who has now gone and taken the lead. So Dara Alizade from Bermuda, he's moved ahead of Gaston Mercier from Belgium, but only just, and it is going to be bow ball to bow ball, and they come up now towards the 1,500 metre mark, and again, it's going to be fascinating to see the margins here. 0.05 of a second between Alizade and Mercier. Mamatuklov from Uzbekistan, just over a second back in third place, and Andrew Peebles only 2.5 seconds back from first. So it's still a boat length between first and fourth through the 1,500 metres. And again, we're just seeing that bow ball to bow ball action between Alizade in lane number 2 and then Mercier from Belgium in lane number 5. Coming up now to the 1750 metres. The red boys are starting to come up now for our final race of the day. The conditions have been absolutely on point. There's a little bit of a tail breeze that I'm sure these scullers are going to be absolutely enjoying. And Camilla, it's, well, we're in for a fascinating finish here. Mercier just starting to make a move now.
Yeah, the last race of the day here on day 2. Looks like it's going to be an absolute firecracker here as Belgium coming back. Our early race leader, Gaston Mercier, who is wanting to pitch one last time at Dara Alizada, who had a great middle thousand to put it out into the front of the lead for Bermuda. But these two scullers, clear water ahead of yet another fantastic fight going on in the middle of the course between the sculler from Uzbekistan and the sculler from Zimbabwe, Mamatkulov and Andrew Peebles.
Sehr, sehr schön zu sehen, dass in diesem breiten Feld auch im D-Finale noch alles auf dem Spiel liegt. Weiterhin führt der Belgier Gaston Mercier, der hier den besten Endspurt an den Tag legen konnte und sein Boot nach vorne bringen konnte. Dahinter haben wir ein starkes Finish vom Ruderer von Bermuda, Dara Alizade, der hier den zweiten Platz für sich nehmen kann vor dem Ruderer, vor dem Usbeken, und auf dem 4. Rang den Ruderer Andrew Peebles von Zimbabwe.
Great to see overlap between all 4 of those sculls as they came across the line, but it was that strong finish from Gaston Mercier of Belgium that puts him at the top of the D final of the men's single sculls. Not as much of a response from Alizada from Bermuda, but still a second place finish for him on his road to the Olympic Games in Paris, of which he's qualified the Bermudian single scull for. And then again, another very close finish, but it was Mamatkulov that came out on top in that 3rd spot ahead of Andrew Peebles of Zimbabwe, to conclude day 2 of racing here at World Rowing Cup 2, Lucerne, Switzerland. So everyone, that is the end of racing here at World Rowing Cup 2 Lucerne, day 2. And what a wonderful day it's been. We've had sunshine all day, near perfect conditions.